Hello and welcome to Project Metalworks. This week's video, contracts. EPC, EPIC, lump sum, turnkey, very similar, just the scope is maybe different. I want to look at three key areas where if you apply these will help make the contract work better and more smoothly. So let's get into the video. Lump sum contracts, EPC, EPCI, turnkey, they have many advantages for both the client and the contractor, if carried out correctly. I believe there are three key areas that will help the contract to run smoothly. So let's look at these three key areas. The first area is collaboration. I believe that you should not make the contract overly complicated. You should not make it draconian, and you should keep it as simple as you can, whilst at the same time covering everything that you need from the contract. So collaboration with the contractor, in my view and my experience, has always proven successful. Yes, you want everything in the contract that you require, but at the same time, don't make it overly complicated for the contractor. It can be made simpler, and if you sit and discuss with the contractor the key areas that you want and ensure that the contractor understands what you want before you sign the contract, then this helps immensely. If you go into too much detail, saying you want A, B, C, D, and so on, one thing is for sure, the contractor may become nervous, and the second point there is that the price will most probably increase. Because remember, he's taking the risk to do the contract. You're giving your risk away for the price of the contract. So if you make it too onerous, too draconian, and then you sit back and expect him just to deliver, it will get complicated. It could get messy. So keep it simple, but keep in the things that you require. And the second point in there is be collaborative. Work with him, not against him. Don't use the contract as a big stick. And it will, in my experience, help the contract, and it will help delivery and the budget for both parties. The second point is do your due diligence on the selected contractors that you are looking at. Make sure that the contractors are competent, can undertake the work, and have experience in the work that you are required to be undertaking. Don't just base it on price or how long they say they can do it in. Those are not the key points. These contracts are high value. So if you have, for example, a bid comes in at $100 million, and a bid comes in at $50 million, and a bid comes in at $75 million, something is not quite correct. You will have done, I hope, your internal pricing, and maybe you've got a value of 80 million. So you have one that is pretty close, you have one that is extremely low, and you have one that is extremely high. So you need to investigate why it's high and why it's low. The low bid may have missed something, may not understand something within the contract, genuinely. Not to say they can't do it, they may just not have understood. And the high one, maybe they think the work is risky, and so they've increased their risk percentage to cover in case things go wrong. So you need to sit down with these three contractors and understand not how they got to the price particularly, because you're asking for a lump sum, but an idea of how and why, high and low. And this starts a collaboration between the contractors as well, so that when you finally do decide which contractor, then it will run more smoothly. Another point that sometimes gets lost as well is the regulatory compliance for wherever you are building. So for example, if you are fabricating, building a piece of machinery or more than one piece of machinery in Asia, and the final destination is the EU, do they fully understand the requirements of the EU? Purchase of equipment. Is it CE marked, for example? Has it got the correct paperwork? All these things you may have written a one-liner in the contract to comply with EU regs, but do they fully understand what that means? So do your due diligence on any contractors that are shortlisted before making your final decision. The third thing is, once you sign the contract, you have to be confident that the detail in there from an engineering perspective and the work and the deliverable is good. So do not interfere with the contractor. Do not instruct him at any point without reason to change the way he works. If you're working to a basis of design or an engineering design that you gave him to engineer, do not change that design unless it is absolutely imperative. If you change the design that you've already contracted to do, this will cause problems in the contract. It will cause price change. It will cause schedule delay, potentially. So, be very careful that once you sign the contract, that you do not interfere with the contractor's work. By all means, monitor and ensure that the contractor is meeting the schedule, that the contractor is delivering as per the contract. But do not instruct, do not interfere, do not tell him to do anything different than what he is doing. It will only cause heartache through budget and schedule. I hope these three things are beneficial. I know they're short, but it could be a very long, boring video otherwise, and I'll try and keep it as short as possible and as interesting as possible. So that's the video for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if you have any comments, or if you wish me to undertake a video on a specific topic, then put them in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas under the circumstances. Be safe and see you again next week.